Hey everybody, this is Pardes, and I'm here in my kitchen, my new kitchen with Daniel Bostic.
Hey guys, what's up?
He actually helped me move, and it was kind of crazy. We basically spent like the entire day.
It was like 8 hours. I think it was like 8 hours. And it was fun. It was also pretty awful.
Yeah, it was really exhausting. Today we were having a conversation about social media engagement and how do you grow your followers on Twitter, on Periscope, YouTube. Step 1 for growing your Twitter.
It's to cultivate who you follow and cultivate relationships on Twitter, not just interactions. What I mean by that is if someone posts something that you think is really original and really fresh and you just like it, then engage with them in a meaningful conversation. Don't just be oh, I really love this. Because as someone who puts out content, you're just okay, that's cool, but I can't do anything with that. But someone who takes my idea and expands upon it, I actually really like that because I feel we're having a meaningful dialogue.
Yeah, your relationships on Twitter are gonna help you out a lot because they're kind of like an extension of yourself. Having major followings that you can rely on to spread your content can really help you. Step 2, I would say, is post consistently every single day, and not just on Twitter. I would say also on YouTube, probably not Periscope. You can post, you don't have to post every day on Periscope, but Twitter and YouTube and I don't do Facebook, but Facebook probably too. Post every single day, and even if you don't have a lot to say, just post maybe 1 or 2. Don't post too much, but just every day. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I agree. Post every day, but also understand that you don't have to be a single issue person. You don't have to, it's kind of like we were talking about earlier, you don't have to fall into that trap that every time I post on Twitter, it has to be about politics or it has to be about, this particular issue. You can vary it, and that's how you actually begin to cultivate a following that you can relate to. Is they may not even agree with you on politics, but they may agree with your taste in TV shows or music,
right.
Or that's how you actually begin to form connections with people, is by just expressing yourself, but expressing yourself authentically. Because to be honest, even a lot of us who are more political, we don't just spend all day thinking about politics. We're real people who have real interests, and I think it's helpful to communicate that.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely when I started in politics, I didn't know anything. I actually it was totally accidental, and I was pre-med, and my family wasn't in politics, and everything was totally just not expected.
Also understand that I know that people say this, and I think it's a little bit
Continue.
There's a lot of us who have made real world friendships on Twitter. Yeah. And that's coming from...
We met on Twitter.
Yeah, we had mutual friends, but we actually started communicating with each other on Twitter. So sometimes it's helpful to remember that before you start firing off on someone.
Yeah.
Because there's people who have been my enemies that are now my friends because of Twitter. So
okay, Daniel, first of all, who's one person who was your enemy on Twitter and became your friend?
Okay, so that's a really loaded question. So Mike.
Same.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, so Mike, I hated on him, and I didn't even just hate on
Mike
him.
Cernovich.
Yeah, I badmouthed Mike to other people. I would always be oh, this guy's crazy, and then I would message people who shared his content, and I would just be you should not be sharing his content. I was basically being a gatekeeper, and now I loathe gatekeepers, but it was just funny. And then I met him, and he's the coolest guy. And
Mike is now one of the main people who's helped me grow my following. He's helped me build my own brand, and in a way, the fact that I engaged with someone who, even as an enemy, that was actually probably good enough, because I formed some kind of relationship, and then afterwards that relationship became a positive one. But do you agree? Sometimes bad relationships can be good if you turn them into
and I think
to get the other
I think
attention.
What's funny is don't just fight with people hoping that one day you'll be friends, but that should go without saying. But Also know that like I like there are some people who have like solidly taken me down on Twitter, and I like respect them in like a weird way, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I don't have like respect for people who are just like, you know, oh, you're like a racist Nazi. Like, okay, whatever. But like people who have like actually like there's been multiple instances in which people have actually changed my mind about policy issues. Like on Twitter, and that hasn't been without a lot of thought and reflection and like research.
Yeah.
But a lot of it I can trace back to someone who just said something, and that something made me wonder. You can actually have meaningful conversations with people even if you disagree with them. The people who actually have engaged followings are the people who are posting content that is stuff that they come up with. Like there's so many people that post like the same thing, they just change the words around to like appease different political groups.
Yeah, like talking points.
Yeah, and it's just like so unoriginal, and I don't think people understand that a lot of people that are actually in politics make fun of those people.
Yeah, and it's like you might get like a ton of engagement at first by tweeting like something very generic that already has some sort of meaning or whatever in media, but you're not creating a brand for yourself. You're just riffing off of some already existing brand or slogan.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I think the big takeaway from that is just that like people need to like monitor their thoughts throughout the day, and if they find something and they're like, okay, that's actually an interesting thought, I'm gonna follow that through, and then if you think it's worth it, then post it. But just make sure you're posting stuff that's original. You don't want to just be echoing everyone else, because that's boring and we don't need more of that.
Thank you, Daniel.